What's happening, guys? I'm Paul Sharp. I wanted to share with you guys 5 things that I discovered doing a little self-reflection today and realizing I've made these changes and they've been really good for me. Even though at the time, maybe I didn't recognize that I was consciously making these changes. It's hard to explain, but let's get into it. In my coaching program, which if you guys want to be coached by me, you want to work with me, I work on transformation. I love helping people transform themselves and reach the next level. If you want to work with me, just shoot me a DM, email me, or if you have my number, or if you know me in real space, you interact with me on a regular basis, let me know and let's get to work. Now, I wanted to share with you one of the things that I do in my program is I ask people every day to take some time and to read. And I don't want you to just blast through. Like there's people out there that recommend you read a certain number of pages a day and things like that. I would prefer that you set time aside. For me, the morning is the best time. That's when it's quiet. I'm going to be uninterrupted. There's nobody around asking for my time or needing attention from me. And I set aside anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes based on how much time I have, but minimum 30, and I read something. And when I read, I'm reading it for purposes of edification. I'm reading it because I want to level up my understanding of this thing. And it might be something I've read before, but I'm just trying to dig a little deeper and better understand it. You know how when you read, you might read something in your 20s and it doesn't really click, but then you read it in your 40s and you see a whole other thing. So sometimes I'm reading stuff I've read before, but the purpose of that is not to have like a certain number of pages, because I want you, when you read it, I want you to really dig in, and then I want you to think about it and really consider it. Maybe reread the same passage. Maybe you reread the same page 20 times because you either aren't getting it or you're starting to get pieces of it. And so by going through it over and over again, you peel back more layers. And then once you do that, or even simultaneously, I want you to take notes. And that's what I do. That's what I've done for probably, it started when I was 16. I'm 57. So 41 years of reading and reflecting and writing and really digging into what's my internal dialogue? What is this affecting within me? What is this causing me to think? So with that in mind, today I went back through my journal and I discovered there were 5 things that I did that changed my life incredibly in the last 5 years. So 2020. Right after the whole pandemic, the time that we shall not discuss. Because apparently all those people that told us we were terrible human beings and for questioning anything and all of that never happened. Don't you guys remember? I'm being sarcastic, but also I'm a little bitter about the whole thing. Anyway, one of the first things that I realized was I had to stop spending time around people that suck the life out of you. Number one thing, stop spending any time around people that are just sucking the life out of you. And the way you know this is when you feel that weight, you feel like you're just getting pulled underwater, your head's being held underwater. There's a whole bunch of ways to describe it. Those are the ways that I describe it. I just felt like this heaviness, like I can't breathe, man. And it was because I was spending time around people who just were pulling the life out of me. They weren't uplifting me. And I could tell the difference was when I would get around people who were uplifting and who were encouraging and pushing me, even though they might be saying things I don't want to hear. That's the key. Just because someone is telling you something you need to hear, just because someone's telling you something you don't want to hear, and it might even be painful, causing you to face some very terrible flaws in your character or your integrity or your whatever, just because that's what they're doing doesn't mean they're tearing you down or they are trying to destroy you. See, there's a difference. I was spending time around people who were uplifting me, who were pushing me to do better, who were pushing me to be who I was supposed to be. That didn't mean every conversation was pleasant. And that didn't mean I left every meeting with them or conversation with them thinking, man, I can't wait to do that again. There were many times where I was like, I'm just going to stay away from these people. But then I realized they were the people I needed to spend time around. They were the ones that were calling me out and calling me up. And the people who were dragging me down and making me feel just like the life was being pulled out of me were also some of the people who were the most complimentary. Think about that. And then I had to be aware during this process of discovery, of realizing like I need to spend more time around people who were holding me to the task, who were holding my feet to the fire, so to speak, and making me be better. I also had to realize that there were people that I used to look up to, that I used to consider close friends, that in the past I would have thought, no, man, they've always got my best interests in mind. I started to realize that once I started to become successful again, once I started to get my life in order again and get on track and become who I'm supposed to be and strive for these levels that this other group were pushing me for, and two, once I discovered or realized rather that there were some people in my circle who did not like that maybe they felt threatened, maybe they felt I was outgrowing them. I don't know how to explain it, but suddenly it became these little biting jabs. Their commentary was laced with comments like, well, now that you've begun to experience some success, like, what are you talking about? Like, I've been successful and I've had massive failures. I've had incredible accomplishments followed by incredible just failure, face planting in front of everybody in the world, it felt like. I've had the highs and the lows, as we all have. As everyone I know that is living a high performance, powerful life, what we would call an overcoming life. Everyone that I know that fits into that category has had some pretty low lows, as well as some highs. But I've never thought to say to them when they're coming back up again, like, well, now that you've experienced a little success. So it's very condescending and derogatory. And for the first time, it occurred to me something that one of my close friends had said to me a long time ago, which was, there's only room for one person to have success in that world, and you need to recognize that. And this person had been slowly distancing themselves from that area, that group. And once I started realizing that, I was like, all right, man, well, yeah, that was the message I needed to receive, and a word at the right time, right? A word at the right season will hit different, and that's just what that was. When those comments were made, and there was a couple of them made like that, I realized you don't want me to do well. You liked it when I was struggling. It was better for you when things weren't going well for me. And it's time for me to do a friend inventory, an inventory of my friends, and figure out who's a friend and who's a friend of me, right? Like, who's a friend enemy, and what's the ratio of friend and enemy in that person. So yeah, so that was the number one thing, man. I had to stop spending time around people that sucked the life out of me, start spending time around people who were holding me accountable, pushing me to a higher standard, expecting me to do better, expecting me to do well because they wanted to do well, and they know and they practice that a rising tide lifts all the boats. And by pushing me and seeing me do better, it's going to push them, and then they're going to do better, and we're all going to rise together. Get around those people, man. I can't stress that enough. The second thing was try to make everybody happy. I realized over the last 5 years that I had slowly given that away. I had released that rope of, I've got to make sure everybody's happy. I got to make sure everybody's good. I got to make sure people are okay with me. People are okay with what I'm doing. That everybody approves. That everyone in the room, that everybody's good. I got to make sure. And I realized that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of responsibility. That's not mine. You're not responsible for my happiness, and I'm not responsible for yours. I'm responsible for my actions, and you're responsible for your actions, but you're not responsible for my response, my feelings about your actions, if you know that you're doing the right thing with the right intentions. If you're doing the right thing with the right intentions, and maybe you do something that hurts someone in some way, then you make amends for that, right? You correct that if you can. But if I'm doing the right thing with the right intention and someone isn't happy with that, it's not my problem. Because I know here, and I know here, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm not doing anything to intentionally harm anyone. Me chopping the legs out from underneath someone else doesn't make me taller. It doesn't make me closer to my goals. It doesn't get me anywhere where I want to go. So I know before God that whatever I'm doing, my intentions are right and they're good, and I am not trying to hurt anyone. Therefore, I can let go of whether people approve or not, whether people are happy or not. I can release that. And that was huge, man. That was huge. I can't overemphasize how important that lesson was. That I finally was able to go say to myself, is that true? What they're saying right now, what they're accusing me of, what they're saying about me, their disapproval, is it true? Is it absolutely true? Is that my intention? What they're feeling, what's happening with them, is that my intention? Or is that a value they are attaching to what's happening? And that's more about them than about me. And once I realized that, I was able to just let it go and move on. And life got so much better. Find a way to look within yourself and say, is what I'm doing right intentions with a good cause? I'm trying to do something good. I'm trying to do something right. Then you don't need their approval. You don't need them to be happy. They can go be sad on somebody else. They can go be offended by somebody else. It's time for you to drive hard on what you were born to do, what your mission is in life, and that might not involve anything that makes them happy. So be it. The third thing that I had to really drive hard on was blaming other people. Looking for other people to attach the blame to. If something didn't work out, if a business didn't go the way it should go, if a deal didn't go the way it should go, if pick something, think of anything. If it didn't go right the way I wanted it to go, and it wasn't as successful as I thought it should be, instead of looking at myself, I would look at others. Now, I would tell people I was taking responsibility. I would tell people that I'm looking at myself and the mistakes I made and the lessons I need to learn from this. But the reality is that I was looking at other people and looking for anyone to put the blame on so that I wouldn't have to take all of it myself. Now, I would take like 15%, but then there was that other 85% that needed to be spread around. Instead of finally coming to a point where I just said, it's all on me. If it's to be, it's up to me, right? That kid thing we all learned when we were kids in school. If it's ever to be, it is up to me. And just accepting responsibility for everything, good, bad, whatever. Like, you don't get to take credit for the success if you don't take credit for the failure. And that was a hard lesson, and it has taken me an incredibly long time to realize that. But it's one of the things that I've noticed in my journal that has changed over the last 5 years, is I am more inclined to say, this is on me. I did this. I didn't do that. And that's why this occurred. Rather than, in the past, my journal would look like, I was doing this, but so-and-so did this. See how that works? So taking all the responsibility, the good, the bad, the ugly, owning it, learning from it, and moving on. The next thing that I realized that I've changed and had significant impact was saying yes when I should say no. Now, I'm not talking about saying no to experiences. I am a firm believer that you should say yes to everything you have never experienced. So whether it's food, a road trip, a hike, a surfing, whatever. If it's an experience, you should say yes to it and do it and learn from that experience, and it's going to enrich you. But if it's people, it is okay to narrow the circle and say no to some people. There are things you cannot do effectively. There are things that are important to your goals that you cannot do effectively if you continuously say yes to others and other people who are dragging you away. If it's taking me away from my goal, if it's pulling me away from where I want to go, then I have to say no. Regardless of how bad that hurts me to say no to somebody, as much as that voice inside of me is saying, no, you have to help, you have to say yes, you have to do this. Put your plans on hold for the day. Put this activity that you had, put that on hold and say yes, and go do this other thing that has nothing to do with what your goals, your mission, your objectives are. That was an important lesson, man. I had to learn the hard way that saying no, delaying something, didn't mean I was denying it. It just meant I'm saying not right now. Maybe no permanently. Maybe I'll never help or do whatever it is. But for right now, I have to say no so that I can stay focused on what I'm doing. That was a hard lesson. And I'm not saying I got it down. I'm not saying I got it perfected. But recognizing that and realizing that over the last few years, saying no to people and their demands on my time has actually helped me get closer to what I want to do, and which has also helped me to help other people that I want to help. If that makes sense, right? If I'm going to try to coach people, if I'm helping people transform themselves, if I'm helping people reach their goals, and I've got my list of things that I want to reach, I can't really take away from that to go over here and do this other thing that has nothing to do with any of what I want to do. So not only is it hurting me and my progress towards what I want to do, my goals, but it's also hurting my ability to help the people I want to help. So I had to learn that as much as it sucks, I gotta say no. Cool. Then the last thing, number 5, was don't do anything that takes you away from your goals. That is something that I learned a long time ago. Actually, I learned it from a priest who first introduced me to Orthodox Christianity. And his advice to me was, before you do anything, ask yourself, will this take me closer to my goals or further from my goals? Because there's no middle ground. You're either progressing towards where you want to go or you are sliding backwards. That's how life works. Life is moving, time is moving on, and you are either getting closer to your goal or you're getting further from it. But you're never just sitting still. Nothing is sitting still. And so, even though I had this in my head, even though I had actually used this as almost a mantra for a long time, I would say to myself, is this going to get me closer to my goal or take me further from my goal? What I'm about to do right now, what I'm about to eat, what I'm about to say, is it taking me closer or further? And I would go through that, even though I had done that for years. Since that advice was given to me in 2014, I had practiced to some degree. I had never really gone hardcore on it. I had never really, man, how do I explain it? I had never really made it a prime directive for all my Star Trek fans out there. I had never made it this non-negotiable. I had never made it this thing where if it doesn't take me closer to my goals, I will not do it. If it takes me further from my goal, if it doesn't take me closer to my goals, if it takes me further from my goals, I will not do it. No matter what it is, no matter how trivial it might seem, no matter how unrelated it might seem, my focus 24/7 is on reaching my goals, completing my mission, being who I'm supposed to be. And I can't do that if I am doing things that take me from that. So I had to make some not to-do lists. You guys have heard of to-do lists. I had to make some not to-do lists. There were a number of things that went on there. Things like drinking booze, no. Watching television, no. Hanging out with people and doing nothing that is productive, no. Just spending time around folks who want to gossip or any negative behavior, that's a no-go. That is a not to do. All these things had to go on my list. And that also, the list of things not to do, as that grew, the list of things to do narrowed, which helped me to hyper focus on those things and put immense energy into that, to the point that there are folks that have reached out to me, or we've had conversations that I haven't talked to in a long time, that have made observations about my behavior and how they've noticed that I'm not around certain people, I'm not around certain events, I'm not spending time on certain things, I'm just doing my thing. And that's not to throw shade on those things or those people, it's just to say that I have narrowed my focus, and it's apparent in both my attitude as well as what I'm getting accomplished. And these other folks have noticed it. I've actually had 3 or 4 conversations in the last 6 months where people have brought that up. Like, hey man, I noticed you weren't around this thing, this event, this whatever. I've noticed that, or you haven't been here and you haven't been there. But I've also noticed you're getting this done, and that's it, man. Because I created this list of here's the things that are taking me away from where I'm trying to go. That left this narrow list of things that will take me to where I want to go. And all I'm going to do is those things, regardless of what that looks like. That's what I'm doing. I'm focused. Those are the 5 things, man. That's what helped me. That's what changed everything for me. Again, going through my journal and then today's journal entry is about these 5 things. Stop spending time around people that suck the life out of you. Number 2, trying to make people happy. Stop. You're never going to do it. 3, blaming other people. Stop that. Take all the responsibility, the good, the bad, and the ugly. 4, saying yes when I should say no. That was such a game changer. And then finally, really seriously applying that old mantra that I've said forever of don't do anything that's taking me away from my goals only do the things that are taking me towards my goals. I hope these 5 things helped you guys in some way, man. And also, I hope you appreciate the content I'm putting out. I'm trying to put more stuff out and more real stuff, man. Not like, yeah, I'm just trying to be me. I'm not trying to create something that I'm not. And what you guys see is what you get. All right, man. I appreciate you guys. If you do dig what I put out, give me a like, give me a subscribe, leave a comment. If there's something you want to hear about or something you'd like me to cover, put that in the comments as well. And let's get after it. I appreciate you guys. Have a good one.